Pieces or cups? Pieces or cups? Pieces or cups? Pieces in cups! Man, we're killing it over here, huh? Not sorry. Reese's.
Hops are like grapes, special conditions of terroir, of soil, the growing conditions of climate and sunlight will produce unique flavors. A lager beer should be fruity, floral, and the flavors that we want in Boston Lager can only come from hops grown in this little piece of ground.
DiGiorno Crispy Pan Pizza bakes fresh in its own pan and travels straight to your table. Unlike delivery that goes from oven to box to bag to car to traffic to wrong houses. DiGiorno delivers a crispy caramelized crust straight from your oven. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
The road to France continues for the U.S. women's national team.
Spectacular!
Scotland, USA, today at 2 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
The pregame show is sponsored by AT&T, and today the reigning world champion U.S. women's national team, they're just about a half hour outside of Glasgow, the U.S. unbeaten this calendar year. They close out the campaign in Scotland, where it'll be two countries gearing up for next summer's World Cup, meeting on the road to France.
These women have no fear, and with eyes on the ultimate prize, this team looks to finish up 2018 with a bang.
Played across Morgan, the touch to the goal. Morgan's got another. Right on the money with that pass. Torpedo. And goal.
The road to France continues. USA versus Scotland. Next on FS1.
The United States and Scotland among 18 nations that have already punched their ticket to France next summer. Number 19 will be done momentarily. They're going to find out their group stage opponents on Saturday, December 8th. The draw live on FS2 Fox Sports, your home for the Women's World Cup, which kicks off on June 7th. As we welcome you to this top 20 international matchup, Rob Stone alongside a pair of U.S. World Cup winners, Megan Klingenberg, Christy Pierce Rampone. I always don't want to get the other names in there. I'm just used to the two names. That's how long you and I have been around this game. All right, so Scotland is one of the real rising programs in international soccer, obviously, particularly in Europe as well. Number 19 in the latest rankings as they prepare to compete in their first ever Women's World Cup. History for them. They're going to go for their first win ever against the U.S. women's national team with this 11 night.
Yeah, Scotland has a few injuries. A big one is Kim Little, one of the best center midfielders in this game. So they're going to have to look to other players to step up. One of them, I want to point out, is Erin Cuthbert. 4 goals in UEFA qualifying. The 20-year-old is a handful on the dribble. And they're going to have to lean on their center back, Rachel Corsie. She's a captain, just earned 100 caps, and she's going to have a tough night tonight against a potent offense.
Scotland hoping to give the U.S. their first defeat of the calendar year. Here's the U.S. manager, Jill Ellis, earlier.
It's a nice tie-in because this is a potential World Cup opponent. So I think it's great for us to play, teams that we could potentially see down the line. Very organised team. I know they've got a few injuries, but I think, these are the good challenges that we need. And, in terms of us being able to break teams down, especially if they sit low, and obviously they have elements of their pressing game as well. So I think those are good things for us to face.
And here's the starting 11, Christy, that Jill's going to roll with.
Jill Ellis sticking true to her word, sharing player loads in these last 2 games of the year. 4 new starters and 3 new position changes today. Starting with Harris in the goal. Look for her to be vocal in organizing her back line. Emily Sonnet moving to the right back position. Shifting Fox to left back, where she's getting her second start of the trip. Ertz back in that holding mid position, while Crystal Dunn, the most versatile player, moves into the midfield where she finished against Portugal. And Carly Lloyd starting up top. Look for her to be hungry and score goals.
Lloyd, the captain, Alex Morgan, getting her 19th start of the calendar year. She's sitting on 97 career goals. Here we sit, though, 206 days away from the kickoff of the Women's World Cup. The U.S. hunting for that 4th star on their jersey as they get themselves geared up for France. What are they hoping to get out of this trip to Scotland?
So this match might not be so important for big picture, broad picture for the women's national team, whether they win, whether they lose, whether they tie. But it's incredibly important for individual players. It's one of the very last chances that these players are going to have to play in front of Jill, play against a good opponent, one that's qualified for the World Cup, one that is going to press them and put them under pressure. So it'll be a great chance for some of these bubble players to be able to show what they can do for the U.S. going forward.
Yes, 23 is going to make this World Cup roster. I think 20 players are looking to be locked in. I think you have Fox, Sonnet, Ashlyn Harris that have to prove themselves today, like show Coach Ellis that they belong, they deserve to be invited into that January camp. And for these younger players, they just need to get settled in, find their rhythm, and just show they belong there and get that invite and start the year off right.
Yeah, the shuffling is just about done. When that calendar year turns to 2019, it's time to lock in and get that starting 11 put in place and give them continual games. So on Thursday, the U.S. won in Portugal. That was their 500th victory in program history. They'll go for 501 next in Scotland. We welcome you back to the AT&T pregame in this top 20 showdown between the U.S. women and Scotland. The States looking to make it 4 wins out of 4 all time against Scotland. It's 2 World Cup-bound nations scoring off just outside of Glasgow. Next, the U.S. #1 in the world, Scotland at number 19. Kickoff under 8 minutes away.
This season, keep your stories interesante, like Dos Equis, the beer whose label inspired the greatest comeback in history.
Authentic Mexican cerveza. 4.2% alcohol by volume. 1 gram protein, 0 gram fat.
Yeah! Tell him, Coach!
12 fluid ounces.
Dos Equis, keep it interesante.
1 week from today, our focus will be on the U.S. men's national team. Christian Pulisic, healthy. He'll be on the field as the U.S. takes on Italy, the 4-time World Cup winners. That one live next Tuesday, 2:30 Eastern, right here on FS1. That game coming your way actually from Belgium. Today, we are in Scotland for the U.S. women's national team, getting set to take on Scotland. And the Scots having a bit of a resurgence, Megan, in the women's game right now. They were at the Euros a couple of years ago, off to their first ever World Cup next summer. This is a good little road test for Jill Ellis' side.
Yeah, absolutely. Scotland, if you look at their roster, they have a bunch of players playing for really big clubs, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal. So they have a lot of good players that are going to test this USA lineup.
Carly Lloyd, the captain, Christy, and she's kind of been ping-ponging back and forth between a starting role and off the bench. How have you seen her handle?
I think she's been handling it very well. She's coming off the bench and producing. Today she's going to get this start. I'd love to see her have great energy, be that captain, be that leader on the pitch and help these younger players get into the rhythm early, settle in, and just end this season off on a high note.
Simple Digit Arena, home to the Scottish Premier League side St. Mirren. Temperatures in Scotland right now in the high 40s. Very light chance of precipitation. A lot of energy around the women's game in Scotland right now as they qualified for their first ever Women's World Cup. If this is their first game in over 2 months, and it comes against the #1 ranked team in the world, the U.S. women's national team. Scottish manager Shelley Kerr there in the middle, a former center back for the team. Scotland, they won UEFA Group 2, edging out Switzerland on the final day of World Cup qualifying. Switzerland in action right now with the Netherlands. And things are not looking good for the Swiss in their hopes to get to the World Cup. For the U.S. women's national team, they've already qualified for next summer's World Cup. This, however, is going to be just their second away game of the calendar year, and they're looking to be unbeaten for the calendar year for the 4th time in program history. The three of us will see you next at halftime. Now for the call, the Hall of Famer, JP Delacamera and Allie Wagner.
Thank you, Rob. Allie, which players might be under the gun a little bit today? Who could impress for Jill Ellis with this, the final game of this calendar year?
Well, I think the girls in the studio touched on a bit with Fox and Ashton Harris, but I would add Mallory Pugh to that list. I think she's a player that came in this year, or last year really, came in hot, and we had high expectations for her, and then with her injury and the time off, she hasn't really found her form yet, and I think she's someone that can compete on that right side with Tobin Heath to eventually earn that starting role come World Cup time.
Tobin Heath among several players not here due to personal or family commitments, so it's an opportunity for others to get a starting assignment. We also get another look at Rose Lavelle, who's gotten her minutes up now into the 80s the last couple of games, and when she is ready to go, we see how much of an impact she can make with this team.
She's a massive difference maker for them, especially as this game goes as projected, which is Scotland looking to sit back and absorb pressure a bit. It's going to be hard for the U.S. to break that down, and Lavelle's that player, one of the players that will really bring the piece in to get between the lines, surge forward. I think we saw it a couple of times against Portugal. We saw it obviously in CONCACAF qualifying, which is a different animal than these type of European matches, but her inside-out runs, and I think the connection between her and Pugh, if they can build on that, there's a lot of chemistry there that the U.S. could benefit from come World Cup time.
Series history goes back to 2002, and in that game in 2002, the head coach of Scotland, Shelley Kerr, marking assignment, mark Mia Hamm. Scotland's first game at home, first game in general since they've qualified for the Women's World Cup for the first time in their history. Back-to-back major tournaments they've qualified for now. Temperature-wise, a pretty cool day in Paisley, Scotland. This small stadium, 8,000-seater, is at least for now the home for Scotland's women's national team. Men's team St. Mirren play in the Scottish Premier League in this stadium. Ertz over the ball, USA in white, Scotland in blue as we get set for the kickoff. Ertz, the most valuable player in World Cup qualifying, as it's played to the back. A long ball from Dahlkemper. Done with that touch. To the back line it comes. How different might Scotland play than Portugal, the USA's last opponent?
With Portugal, they put pressure on the U.S. higher up the pitch. I think you're already seeing it with Scotland. Initial line of confrontation likely to be around halfway.
Morgan plays it in. The look was for Lloyd. Morgan in a bit of a different position. Normally we've seen her play more centrally in that 4-3-3 with Rapinoe over to the left. And now this time it's Carly Lloyd actually in Morgan's spot.
And I would anticipate, though, Morgan, yes, to be able to take on the outside, but her to filter inside and become almost a double 9 and have Megan Fox rotate up down that left side, create the service if, in fact, Scotland is sitting back. That gives you two tall targets, two players great in the air with Morgan, with Lloyd for that.
Injury right away. This game only in the 2nd minute. Ertz was involved in the collision. And the player down is Erin Cuthbert, former teammate of Crystal Dunn's at Chelsea. Here's how it happened.
That would be a big loss, JP, if Cuthbert can't continue. She looks to be in a lot of pain. One of the young, upcoming players for Scotland, so crafty on the ball.
Only her 24th international appearance for Cuthbert. obviously took the worst of that. We have with us today special guest FIFA referee and rules expert Christina Unkel. In these situations, you got to be worried about head injury. Christina, what's the direction or the directive given to the referees in this situation?
Yeah, thanks, JP. I mean, the direction here is obviously major concern with any type of head collisions, concussions, etc. So the direction is provided as soon as you see a head-to-head contact and someone grabbing for it, to just kill the game and bring on the trainers to address it.
She's really struggling here. Let's see what's going to happen. Well, this is interesting. Concussion protocol is different, Christina, from country to country. I mean, she looks like she wants to come back in right now, but I'm not sure that's all that wise.
Yeah, and you know, those determinations are thankfully made by the sports scientists and the physios out there. But yes, obviously as a referee, our first concern is safety, and then we rely on the experts to let us know whether they're good to come in or not.
Can't let the player decide, that's for sure. Here's Lavelle down this right sideline. Emsley defends against her. Broken up, Emsley helping out. 7 on the ball, Haley Lauder. Starting at left back for the injured Emma Mitchell. Scotland missing quite a few key players, including Kim Little, arguably their best all-around player. The one that Rachel Corsie says you can't really replace. She's that unique.
But Claire Emsley, another young player that's coming up for Scotland, on that left side, just draws over 2 defenders. She doesn't have anywhere to go and smartly goes to ground with a little shove from Ertz.
Cuthbert is back. We'll see how she goes. 4th minute, free kick. Caroline Weir is the deepest with Cuthbert there, sending one in, and it goes wide. And then it's tipped out. Morgan got the last touch, it looked like. Pretty good test, though, from Scotland on that free kick.
And it was a lovely teasing ball. This one just driven in behind that retreating back line of the U.S. And you've got the runners. That one skips across. Ashlyn Harris couldn't come out and make a play for it. And really a few U.S. players just beaten to the spot and no one marking up at that back post. That one could have been put away. Should have been put away.
Corsie and Beattie, 2 center backs up for this. Corsie is the captain, plays for the Utah Royals. A teammate of Becky Sauerbrun's there. Off that corner, flipped over the bar. So an opportunity early for Ross.
We saw Portugal have a good look against the U.S. just a couple days ago on a set piece from the corner flag, and Scotland here with the near post catches U.S. off guard.
Under Kerr, Scotland a bit more offensive-minded than they were in the past. A little bit more flair in the offensive third as Corsie played it forward on that right side. Fiona Brown was there, goes out for a throw-in. Right between the benches.
JP, they can afford to be more offensive-minded. Yes, as a manager, you can make that decision, but I think they can afford to be because they have players playing in the top leagues around the world. Mentioned it in studio. 6 of these players playing in England, 1 in the NWSL with this starting 11.
Throw-in coming up for Scotland. Chloe Arthur will take it. Scotland's head coach Shelley Kerr said she's not even afraid of being beaten by a big score. She has a game plan, wants to stick to it, and is using this game as a measuring stick. Ball kicked forward. Tap back to Ashlyn Harris. And that was risky and riskier as she clears it. Fiona Brown's after it. Defended by Fox as it goes out. Shaky moments in goal.
And with Harris, you'd think just coming out of this match today, all she'd want to walk away saying is I had a really clean game. And she does well to handle that initially, but then she's got to release it. She's one of those players that's really comfortable with the ball at her feet, but perhaps too comfortable.
Last start was in World Cup qualifying versus Panama. Only her 5th game this year. Alyssa Nair's played in 15. Nair is not suited up for this game. Backup goalkeeper is Adriana French, who has not been capped yet for the U.S. Lauder under a little bit of pressure there from Pugh. Beattie's pass. Corsie. Brown taking off, has Cuthbert ahead. Run was made by Ross up top, but it's deflected out for a throw-in.
And you can see the problems that Cuthbert can create for the United States. She has the freedom to find the match. She'll check off that back line, spin in the half space. Really talented young player, and already you're just seeing some flair from her and confidence.
The U.S. knotting it down, but they had the last touch. Another throw-in by the bench area for Chloe Arthur. Arthur plays for Birmingham City off Cuthbert. And the last touched again by Dunn. Another Scotland throw-in. Arthur. Give it right back to the U.S. On that collision, the foul is called against Weir, taking down Pugh. Ball touched ahead on the right. Intended for Pugh, cut off. Weir. Brown. Scotland getting numbers forward in the early stages here. 9th minute. Scoreless match. Broken up by Fox. Topping it to the back. Sauerbrun's pass was blocked. Last touch, though, by Scotland. U.S. throw-in. Emily Fox, a sophomore at the University of North Carolina. Big test for her. She was the right back in the last game, the left back tonight. Pushed ahead by Del Kemper. Mallory Pugh on this right side, cutting it to the middle. Del Kemper and Sauerbrunn, the two experienced center backs. Comes back to Becky. Del Kemper, best 11 last 2 years with the North Carolina Courage. And WSL champions. That ball is going to get away. Throw in here for Scotland. Gillis talked to us the other day and said her team a little bit disjointed in the passing game. How have they looked so far today? Disjointed? Passing?
In this match, I would say that Scotland's just been on the front foot. I don't think anyone's really found a rhythm in this match at all. And, you can see Scotland retreat immediately to halfway to start their pressure. But when they have the ball, they're willing to send numbers. They're going to go at the U.S. And the U.S. just hasn't been able to get a hold of it.
U.S. back in their own half of the field. Thursday night football. Allie Wagner's a big Green Bay Packers fan. They'll take on Seattle, a game on Fox, and also Fox Deportes, 7:30 Eastern Time.
Go Pack, go, JP.
I know. Del Kemper, Sonnet. U.S. still with the ball in their own half. It's out wide, right side. Pugh. Scotland backs it up defensively. Halfway line, Del Kemper. Sauerbrunn. U.S. trying to move the ball quickly, but also accurately. A lot of touches, but not advancing. Sonnet under some pressure from Emsley. Sauerbrunn quickly got it to the outside. Morgan was looking for Dunn. End line knocked out. Good defensive play by Joe Love, their most experienced player. 186th cap for her.
And you can even see with Scotland just how they're shifting. Love in particular tracking that run out of midfield. The discipline is there from Scotland defensively. The U.S. just trying to probe, swing it side to side to find some space. But Scotland well organized in their 4-4-2. Even in their 4-4-2, they're dropping Cuthbert back to help out in the midfield.
This coaching staff all bundled up. Colder than it was in Portugal. And colder than they're used to playing in, because they've been playing all of their games in the U.S. this year. Only their second road game. in this their 20th game of the calendar year.
You calling them soft?
No, are you?
I was always soft, so yeah.
The ball was intended for Ross. U.S. picking it back up. Not for long, though. Brown touching it back. Weir under some pressure. Corsi. Corsi holding it. She gave a lot of credit to Becky Sauerbrunn for her development. Center back partners in Utah. Talked about Becky's leadership and her professionalism.
And there it is again with Cuthbert. She was the one tracking back, picking up Julie Ertz. That's going to be her responsibility because essentially the U.S. should have that numerical advantage, but with Cuthbert dropping back, they'll be even in there.
Dahlkemper has Sonnet. Scotland's not giving the U.S. much. Sonnet.
We'll look at their first line of confrontation. Usually the U.S. can take out that first line with one of their center backs just probing, taking that advancing touch or pass. It's not there for the taking. Line's tight for Scotland.
Ball is pushed ahead. Cuthbert taken down as the ball was turned over. Can the U.S. counter quickly? Lavelle, nice ball. Flag stayed down. Now it's up. Well, that's the kind of ball that can beat Scotland if it was onside.
You're right, and they're squeezed up pretty high. I mean, you can see how condensed they are. They're squeezing the game, and Rachel Corsi is the one who looks over her shoulder, recognizes they can get her off. Well-organized back line to Steph Lloyd, but it's a good run. It's the right run to make. And the U.S. is going to, even if it doesn't come off, even if they're called offsides a few times, they're going to keep needing to make that run just to try to soften up that back line and create some space underneath.
Alexander will send it forward. Long ball played. Another game going on in Europe right now with the Netherlands trying to become the 19th team to qualify. They won the first leg 3-0. It's a 1-1 scoreline now, so a 4-1 aggregate. I'm expecting the Netherlands to get through. Ball played ahead. Morgan in the box has help. Pugh's coming late. Morgan looking. Leave it. Pugh. It's wide. Best opportunity for the U.S. by far.
And how would you like to be that back line of Scotland looking at Pugh, Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd just running at you? It's the cut here. I thought Alex Morgan was going to go for her own shot. She's unselfish in the end, slides that across to Pugh, but it looked like it took a little hop, in fact, as Pugh was going to light this one up. I think she has the window to release it on that right, but she opts to slide it. And then the miscue.
Morgan's been in amazing form. 24 goals in her last 25 games. 17 goals in 18 games this calendar year. And 3 goals away from 100. Headed back to Lee Alexander, their #1 goalkeeper in World Cup qualifying. The USA versus Scotland is presented by AT&T. Misplayed by Haley Lauder. Will give the USA a throw-in.
I think the outside backs for Scotland, they don't have their typical starting outside backs. I think that's a place that U.S. can look to take advantage of them in with the pace of Pugh and Morgan on those in those wide areas respectively.
Missing Howard and Mitchell in the starting 11. Pugh cutting it back. Needed to be better for Sonnet. Pressure on the ball from Ertz. Almost took it away from Weir. Weir getting it forward. That's knocked away by Dahlkemper. Game is starting to pick up a bit.
Weir's good, though, JP. That pressure came flying in after the turnover, what you expect from the U.S., and she solved it. The pass went awry.
Ball deflected wide, and the flag is up. Morgan was after it. 17th minute, 0s on the board. And Scotland may respect the U.S., but they're certainly not fearing them.
Well, when your coach tells you that we don't care if we get shellacked, basically, she's taken off the chains and allowing you to go out there and try to imprint on the match and bring your creativity, take chances. This is their really best opportunity, if you will consider the U.S. the #1 team in the world, to prep themselves for the World Cup against the top team and to know where can they go toe-to-toe, where do they have to learn to manage the game. I think you learn a lot when you open yourself up and do it in a way that you think you can be conservative in some elements, but go at the opponent and others.
Scotland will have a throw-in the 18th minute. Zeros on the scoreboard.
Julie Fleeting, my old teammate from San Diego Spirit. She's doing the radio call, I believe, for Scotland over there.
Long throw in from Arthur. Headed up by the U.S. They won't get that second ball. Dahlkemper. Collision there, Emsley, no foul given. Dunn tapping it forward. Morgan releases Fox on the left, trying to get through. Fox made her international debut in that game against Portugal. Jill Ellis has given 27 players their first caps. Fox got one the other night, and off the bench, Colaprico got one as well, her debut for the U.S. Sonnet in the 19th minute. Pushing it wide. Pugh. U.S. 17 wins and 2 draws in 2018. Overall, a 27-game unbeaten streak going back to last year. Sonnet. Pugh. Scotland are there every step of the way. Knocked out by Beattie. Beattie's international debut came against the USA. Her dad and brother very big in the rugby union. It's going to be Scotland's ball. Scoreless in the 20th minute. This will be Lauder with the throw-in. Plays for Glasgow City. 6 players on this squad play for Glasgow City. They've won 12 consecutive Scottish League titles, 13 overall. Hughes on the chase. Lauder cut off by Dahlkemper. Fox pass picked off. Can Scotland counter? It's off Emsley. Slowed down by Sonnet. Good job there. Lloyd laid it back for Dunn. Fox. Morgan. 20 minutes gone. Your assessment?
Impressed by Scotland. I think with the U.S. missing a Lindsey Horan, for instance, yes, there's other pieces we can discuss, but I think Lindsey Horan's ability just to spread the pitch quickly with her distribution, they're missing that right now.
Laid off by Lloyd. Fox for Dunn. It's knocked out for a throw-in. It's off Hurts. Not much room in that sideline. The foul was given. Free kick. U.S. Fox played 63 minutes in that game against Portugal, and by all accounts gave a good, solid performance. So the U.S. with a free kick, and normally Megan Rapinoe takes those, but she's an available sub in this game. 22nd minute, scoreless as Alexander's ready for this. Hurts one of the targets up front. Waiting on the whistle, we get it now. Floated up by Lavelle. Misses a couple of targets, and Morgan got the last touch. Alexander has a goal kick.
Not enough pace on that service.
Morgan's numbers have been amazing. You referenced the 24 goals in 25 games. What's been the biggest difference for you in watching her play?
I think it's all the other elements that she's brought. I think her movement, the intelligence of her runs, where she goes, why and when, has dramatically improved this season. I think her effort to work back and help hunt the ball back for the U.S. has been a big factor, too. You look at where the U.S. wins the ball. It's one pass to spring her, and she's in again.
Put away by Sauerbrunn. Scotland's had more of the ball than I figured they would have in the first 22 minutes.
Well, yeah, I agree, absolutely. But I've watched some of this team play, and I think their comfort on the ball is something that we haven't seen before out of Scotland when we used to play them. And I go back to them being full-time professionals, most of them playing abroad in top leagues. These are footballers. They grew up around the game. They understand it, and you can just see it.
U.S. has a throw-in. There's a dangerous ball back. Dahlkemper. Sonnet. Was laid off by Lavelle. Sonnet tried to go longer. Lloyd tapping it right. Here's Pugh. The big three and that front three have been quiet so far for the U.S. Here's Lloyd turning it on that far side. Morgan playing it across, and it goes wide of goal. They've taken the deflection.
And then right on cue, they all three combined to get in. Part of it is with these three, with Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Mallory Pugh, you now have different dynamics up top. Carly Lloyd wants the ball more at her feet. She wants to get on the end of service. She's not going to run in behind as much, so you're not getting that pace to threaten in behind. It's on the flanks now, and the U.S. isn't finding those flank spaces early enough.
So LaBelle corner, drives it off that powerful left foot, headed away, not out of the box yet. Now it is towards Ross, cut off by Fox. Fox and Ross battle. Ross got the last touch. Off the U.S. throw-in. Dahlkemper from Sauerbrunn in the 25th minute. USA closing out 2018 with this international friendly against Scotland. Fourth ever meeting. Fox, done. Wider on that left side. Morgan makes a run in the box. It's deflected out for a corner.
And Pugh's been active, I think, with her movement. You can see her, she keeps ghosting over to that far side. She comes central now, and this time she pops up on that left flank, takes her player 1v1, draws the corner kick.
LaBelle's second straight corner. This one from the opposite side. That cultured left foot, an outswinger. Almost bounced in the box. Those are always potentially dangerous. Scotland taking off. Cuthbert sending it long. Dahlkemper with a touchback to Ashlyn Harris. No pressure on Dahlkemper. Finds Sonnet. U.S. playing in that 4-3-3, but it's a different look. Minus some of their key players, including Megan Rapinoe, who we might see later. Mallory Pugh brought it down well. The ball played across, and runs came late. Short for Lloyd. Carly turning. Trying to find Ertz. That's cut off. Ross made the initial play. Weir picks it up. Spins away from traffic. Blocked, though, by Ertz. Played back to Alexander.
And again, Weir gave it away ultimately, but how many times do you see the U.S. just scare that player into submission, where they play it immediately to the U.S.? Weir gets the knockback, and her team maintains possession, and they solve that initial wave of pressure from the U.S.
Shelley Kerr's team is playing with confidence. They've upped the atmosphere in the training sessions. They want it to be a lot more competitive. She says it'll make the individual better, but also the team better, and they have more depth now, so they can do that. She told us she liked the foundation that was there from the previous head coach, so she didn't want to change too much. throwing. Clipped back. Ertz. Sonnet. 28th minute. Scoreless here. With Pugh on the ball. Up the middle. Now feeding it right side. Dunn has popped up now on this right side for the first time. Plays it across. Headed away. Loose ball in the box is also dealt with well by Scotland. Corsi coming up big. It's one of the two center backs with Beattie. Dahlkemper. Pugh tucks it in. Here's Crystal Dunn. Cutting. On the left foot, it's blocked. Cleared away. Over the shoulder, Dahlkemper. Pressure's coming from Emsley. Dahlkemper did well not to lose it there. Plays it back to Harris. Switch from Dahlkemper. Lavelle tapping it back. Pugh.
And look at the positioning between the backs right now with Sonnet and Fox. It's narrow and it's not aggressive and expansive and pushing up high. Now, part of that could be that you want to maintain space for Pugh and Morgan to work. They can pull their outside back out. Now you can release runs from the midfield out with Dunn and Lavelle. But I also think at times they're going to have to rotate, whether it's Sonnet, release her higher, whether it's Fox on that far side, release her higher. I think right now it's too stagnant. It's too easy for Scotland to defend when you've got four players just sitting back and playing that initial entry pass, and Scotland's closing it down.
Lavelle and Dunn are two players that can go at you 1v1. How do you get them more of the ball in this?
I still think that it's about expanding Scotland. You've got to, which way do you pull them? Well, you've got to get your width coming from whether it's the outside backs rotating, but you've also got to try to get in behind so you can soften up space underneath. And then it just comes with the confidence of playing that entry pass into a player that has pressure on their back. And with Dunn and Lavelle, you should have the confidence that they can solve that.
Scotland has a corner coming up. Here in the 30th minute. Sonnet guarding that near post for Ashlyn Harris. The usual big targets coming forward for Scotland. Cuthbert will take it. She'll drive it near post. The flick was there and cleared off the line. The U.S. almost conceded there. And they may hear with Ross. Ross looked to get Scotland on the board. The U.S. has looked shaky here in those last two plays.
And it's shaky here as this ball's just whipped into the near post. You get that near post runner to glide right in front of the line of sight for Ashlyn Harris. And then right here with Mallory Pugh gets picked off. You might not need to play out of the back when you've got pressure closing you down. You know the numbers are back for the U.S. You're just absorbing a corner kick. Clear that one out.
It was Morgan that made that defensive play. Just past the half-hour mark. Scotland has been impressive. The USA men's team back in action against Italy on Tuesday. FS1, 2:30 Eastern time. Christian Pulisic back after missing time due to injury. We assume he'll be starting. Ross is okay. 32nd minute. You could argue that Scotland's had the better chances in this first 31 plus minutes.
I don't think either side has looked incredibly dangerous getting into that final third, though. That's just something you wouldn't have anticipated saying about the U.S., that the lack of opportunities they're even generating at this point in the match. But I tell you, the last game of a calendar year is very hard for players to get up for.
They know the break is coming, right? Their only break of the year, really, between club and country. They're back at it in January. First friendly's already been announced. We'll air that game on FS1 in mid-January against France.
Les Bleus.
After that, she believes Cup, and they'll try to play some quality opponents there. And I would think they would want to be playing some games in Europe as well to test themselves, get acclimated to the Women's World Cup coming next summer to France and to Fox. 33rd minute, long ball from Scotland. The run by Cuthbert. Sauerbrunn is there with her, stride for stride. It's a goal kick for Harris.
Another heads-up play by Scotland, though. They solved that initial pressure from the U.S. They were pushed in high, and it was 2 passes, and they were trying to get in behind.
Harris went short. Immediate pressure from Cuthbert. They try to dispossess the U.S. deep in their own territory. And they're still trying that. Sonnet. Got it down by Lavelle. Switched by Ertz. Cutting ball ahead for Dunn. Dunn's been the starting left back, but today playing really in Lindsey Horan's spot. Horan out due to a family commitment.
But very different players, so the profile of the way the U.S. will use that midfield will be very different. Lindsey Horan really capable of just pulling the strings, setting tempo. Dunn being someone that you just want to get involved in that final third so she can take on players, break lines, and look for a shot. And I love the inside-out runs that she's making along with Lavelle. They're just not finding it often.
Laid off by Lloyd. Ertz to an oncoming Sonnet. Sonnet tried to go wider. Scotland wouldn't give her that sideline. Dahlkemper. Becky Sauerbrunn. 35th minute. USA, Scotland. We can confirm that the Netherlands will join the World Cup party thanks to a 4-1 aggregate win over Switzerland. 19th team to qualify for the Women's World Cup out of the 24. Pugh sending one in a bit late, almost there. Alexander made a mess with that. Lloyd almost picked it up. Dunn launches it. That's headed away. Brought back down by the U.S. and pushed wide. Sonnet dispossessed. Could be trouble. Could also be a yellow. Should be a yellow. It is a yellow. But Sonnet knew what she was doing. Clearly, she was beaten.
Yeah, but credit Claire Emsley, the young 24-year-old from Man City. She first picks Emily Sonnet's pocket, and then she cuts in front of her. Cut off her retreat to the ball. Initial pressure, but this touch right there. That draws the foul. Now the U.S. is back in good shape, though.
Defending this free kick, 36th minute. Zeros on the scoreboard. Last game was close, the U.S. played. Just a 1-0 win over Portugal. Lavelle back to the feet of Harris. Dahlkemper. Ertz. Ball switched. Brown is there to defend. Dunn does well to keep it moving. Morgan on the move. Lloyd makes a run. In front for Lloyd, and Alexander cuts it off. Good play by the Scottish goalkeeper.
Oh, that's the last one with Pugh clipping it in. Alexander spills it. Lloyd's there. Then everyone trying to rerun. Fox has lost her slipping, or lost her footing a few times tonight. That was the second one I saw.
37th minute. As Alexander plays it long. She's trying to find Cuthbert. Lavelle. Dahlkemper. Emily Sonnet, only player booked in this one moments ago for the takedown of Emsley. Switch by Dahlkemper. Headed forward. Dunn's on the chase. Got a little bump there. Dunn keeps it alive. Crystal Dunn playing it. Trying to find Morgan. Alexander off her line.
Last 5 minutes or so, JP, they've been pushing Emily Fox higher on that left side, and it's looking like a 3-back for the U.S. when they're playing out. They play that diagonal to get the ball to Fox early, and then Dunn's running off.
The 27-year-old Alexander has played professionally in Sweden, as well as now in Glasgow City. Dahlkemper on it. Sonnet slowed down. Emsley forcing her back. Sauerbrunn as high up the field as she's been. Pugh on the right. Inviting ball in, and there's the first one. Alex Morgan continuing pretty much a goal-a-game pace. In the 39th minute, U.S. leads. International goal.
And this is one of the benefits of having both Carly Lloyd and Alex Morgan on the pitch at the same time. It's Carly Lloyd who goes into that near post, draws Corsi with her, and she's a great target in the air. But it's Alex Morgan all alone, gliding in, full volley there to roof that one. What a ball by Pugh.
A much-needed goal for the U.S. coming in the latter stages of this opening half. Quality cross, quality finish.
Look at Weir. She's got 3 players closing down on her, and she's able to handle it. Draws the foul. Impressed by her. Good box-to-box player. We talk about the absence of Kim Little. I think there's quality coming up through the ranks for Scotland. Weir's one of them in the center of the park.
Little missed Euro 2017 with an ACL injury. They expect her back for the Women's World Cup. Let's see how that goal changes the dynamics of this game. Ertz for Dunn. Final 5 minutes of this opening half. Corsi will just clear it to safety. Throw in U.S. Sally Kerr has been their coach since 2017. Clearance out, last touch by Joe Love. Off the Ertz touch, Lavelle, nice spin move against Weir. But broken up by Brown. Weir's on it. Has some help. Fiona Brown helping. Weir the touchback for Cuthbert. Broken up by Carly Lloyd. Right between the benches. Back in USA territory. The whistle had sounded. On an Alex Morgan goal in the 39th minute, assisted by Mallory Pugh, the U.S. has a 1-0 lead over Scotland, who've given a very good account of themselves in this first half. Sauerbrunn. It's cut off, but the U.S. picks it up. Fox, left sideline, taken away. Switch by Arthur, given away. Carly Lloyd's on it. U.S. back in possession. Lavelle, Ertz. Ertz tries the long ball. It's too close to Alexander, too far away from Pugh. some ways thinks it's Carly Lloyd. She's right. That took forever. U.S. getting it back with Lavelle. Tough ball back. Fox deals with it. Back to the feet of Harris. Dahlkemper for Sonnet. 24-year-old right back will push it ahead. Dunn shakes off her marker. And a second one. Dunn got it forward. Here's Pugh. Runs by a couple of forwards in front. And that's last touch by the U.S. Lloyd and Morgan were making those runs. The U.S. has the only goal in this half. Morgan in the 39th minute, or 98th international goal. Pugh had the assist on it.
And look how far Pugh's coming to defend. We've seen this a couple times when they get those throw-ins in the corner. Pugh comes all the way over the pitch. The U.S. is incredibly condensed defensively. And the weak side is on for Scotland if they opt to find it.
Scotland have another player down near the end of this first half.
And it's Brown, another head-to-head. It looks like collision. Julie Ertz again involved.
She appears to be okay. Halftime is just moments away. Chillis can reflect on the first half, see what she wants to do differently in the second. May see some U.S. changes. We can make 6 subs in these friendlies. Pugh keeps it ahead. Lloyd, head on a swivel, now knocks it forward, but it's a heavy touch intended for Pugh. Lloyd's played in every game this year but one, but it's only her 5th start. She's been coming off the bench in pretty much every game. 7 goals this calendar year, including a hat-trick against Panama in World Cup qualifying. Final seconds, maybe some injury time added. The earlier head collision Cuthbert was involved in. Emsley. Scotland now will get some numbers forward. Cuthbert, the intended target of that, blocked by the U.S. Stays in the field of play. Corsi slipped as she tried to clear that ball ahead. Sonnet's touch for Dunn. They're in stoppage time. Dahlkemper. Pugh. Mallory Pugh trying to go to the outside. Cutting it into the box, but it's cleared away. Beattie on the clearance. Sauerbrunn asking for some movement ahead. On the left side, in for Lloyd, headed away by Corsi. Off Cuthbert. Another USA throw-in in stoppage time. Corsi missed those 2 games against the U.S. back in 2013 due to injury. So this is the first time she's played against the U.S. The Fox pass to the left. The return is for Fox. Blocked out. Corner. U.S. Second minute of stoppage time.
Most of the play for the U.S. has come down that left side with Fox getting forward.
There's Lavelle. She's taken all of the corners tonight. Lavelle with an out swinger, knotted down. Nobody near it in the white of the USA. Weir will just get it forward. And it's out of play again.
That's where Scotland's lacking, JP. They just don't have the outlet.
That's going to do it. First half has come to a close. Alex Morgan with the game's only goal. It came in the 39th minute off a perfect feed from Mallory Pugh. After the break, come back with us in studio. Rob, Megan, and Christy.